Isti'adatu bi ghayrillah. From an act of shirk, to seek refuge in other than Allah is part of shirk. To seek refuge in other than Allah is part of dhikr. And again, this chapter is in the same sequence, mentioning the different types or acts of shirk that a person might fall in with the evidences of the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Al-isti'adha is when a person say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitan rajim, for example. And this al-isti'adha meaning that you turn to someone for help. But you turn to someone for help in a way that only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can fulfill this help. It's not just any help, like you turn to someone to help you with money or to lift something for you, in which people are capable to do that. The human being are capable to do these types of things. This is not called isti'adha. This is called, you're seeking help from them in other words. But al-isti'adha, it's only to be done to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't say, A'udhu bi fulan, A'udhu bi Muhammad or bi Ahmad or bi Umar. You only say, A'udhu billah. And it's something to be said with the tongue and something to be a belief in the heart. That it's only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we seek this type of help, in which only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can make. Who can help the person from the shaitan? It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who can be the refuge of the believers in forgiveness of the sins from the hellfire, to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for Jannah, seeking refuge in Allah from the hellfire? It's not from a human being. If a person seek that from a human being, this is shirk, definitely, because no human being can save someone from the hellfire. It's only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why al-isti'adha is an act of worship. Why it's an act of worship? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned it in the Quran, that this is part of the ibadah, to seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from the believers to seek refuge in Him. As it's mentioned, for example, in the Quran, فَإِذَا قَرَأْتَ الْقُرْآنَ فَاسْتَعِذْ billahi minash shaitan rajim. Order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you recite the Quran, then fasta'idh, meaning seek refuge in Allah from the shaitan. Since it's an order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that means it's ibadah. And if it's ibadah, that means it's not supposed to be done to other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the meaning of al-ibadah. The verse mentioned in the chapter, وَأَنَّهُ كَانَ رِجَالٌ مِّنَ الْإِنسِ يَعُوذُونَ بِرِجَالٍ مِّنَ الْجِنِّ فَزَادُوهُمْ رَهَقًا. Which means, and verily, there were men among mankind who took shelter with the male jinns, but they, meaning the jinns, increased them, meaning the mankind, in sin and disbelief. And this is in Surah Al-Jinn, the relationship between the human beings and jinn. And for the human beings to seek the help from the jinn, this is definitely an act of kufr, an act of shirk. Why? Because the jinn won't help the human being unless he disbelieves in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the ayah mentioned that they would the human beings would seek the help from the jinn to matters of security. They used to travel in times of Jahiliyyah, and before they go in a place for rest, for example, in their traveling, they would seek refuge in the jinn of the neighborhood or in that area, so that they are protected, nobody would harm them. This is something that is only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that is capable of doing that, and it becomes an act of worship if they seek such a help from the jinn when they are forbidden to do that. So this is why this verse is here in this chapter. وَأَنَّهُ كَانَ رِجَالٌ مِّنَ الْإِنسِ يَعُوذُونَ. This is the verb يَعُوذُونَ بِرِجَالٍ مِّنَ الْجِنِّ. What can we benefit from this? That al-isti'adha بِغَيْرِ اللَّهِ shirk. To seek refuge in anyone other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's shirk. And again, the meaning of which, that something that the human being is not capable of doing. If the human being is capable of doing something that we know physically, again, like lifting something, helping you to talk to someone, this is all permissible. Although it's better even for the person to put his trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not to even ask. But seeking refuge in things that the human beings are not capable of doing that. Forgiveness, protected from the hellfire, and so on. Also, it shows from the verse, as the ulama they say, that the message of the Prophet ﷺ is not just to the human beings, but to the jinn too, as it's mentioned in Surah Al-Jinn and others. And another benefit, as it's mentioned in the verse, when a person seeks refuge in other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what happens? They become more into sin and disbelief. It gives them more fear and more weakness, because this is something that has to be done only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why the most powerful human being on the face of earth is the one that has the tawakkul and putting the trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once this is weakened, then according to this weakness, there will be weakness and fear in the heart. If a person does not fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the perfect sense, then if he fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just a little bit, that means he fears other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with whatever deficiency therein, which is the same with all acts of worship. Like again a cup, all the cup has to be full. If it's not full, that area that it's not full will be filled with the opposite of what is pure and what is supposed to be filled in this cup. So, yarhamukallah. So that's why the deficiency in that will be deficiency in matters of tawheed. And which is the opposite of that meaning, that whoever seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that brings power in the heart of the Muslim and tranquility and peace and firmness to be steadfast on the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why the word, or this, when we say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, it's such a powerful statement. It's not something that should a person belittle it. No, it's such a powerful statement that we need to be protected from the steps and the traps of shaitan. And the only way that a person can be protected is by seeking refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. The hadith mentioned in this chapter, hadith Khawla بنت حكيم قالت سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول من نزل منزلا فقال أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق لم يضره شيء حتى يرحل من منزله ذلك, which means whoever goes into a dwelling and says while entering it أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق, and any dhikr that we're ordered to say, it has to be said like that, the way the Prophet ﷺ said it, not the translation, but exactly in the same words. And a person, of course, it's important to memorize or to understand the meanings of it. This means I seek refuge in Allah. A'udhu, this is meaning I seek refuge bikalimatillah, in Allah's perfect words. Allah's words is one of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you're not seeking refuge in a creation of Allah. Allah's words are an attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are not creation. No, the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I seek refuge in Allah's perfect words from the evil, min sharri ma khalaq, from the evil of those creatures which He created. If he says that, no harm shall befall him until he departs from that place. Reported by Muslim. We see in this hadith clearly that al-ista'adah here is to be done seeking refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. And the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the perfect words. Why? Because the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are perfect. There is no deficiency in the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Min sharri ma khalaq, from the evil of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created. Did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create evil? It's evil according to how our perception is. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most perfect. If there is no evil, people won't know what is good and what is pure, unless there is the opposites. With the opposites, people get to see what is right and what is wrong. So, and by the evil existing on the face of earth, there are good qualities that can never exist without the evil being there. Otherwise, how people will endure patience if there is no evil? How would they strive for the sake of Allah if there is no evil? And how some of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala won't be in place, like the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the Almighty, the All-Powerful. All of these attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes in place as a result of the evil being present. And this is the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the permissible way of seeking refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not the deviant way. Why? Because this is the way of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. What is better than knowing the way of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam? These means are unseen to us, ghaib. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, لَمْ يَضُرُّهُ شَيْءٍ, nothing will harm him. If he says that whenever he enters in a place, whether it's in desert or home or whatever there is, he goes to a place, a new place, traveling, setting in a certain place, he would say this dhikr while entering in that place. Nothing would harm him by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In other ways, when people say, if you say this, you will be protected, if you hang this, you will be protected, and so on, who told them that this is true? Are they people that they have revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala coming to them? revelation has been seized by the death of the Prophet ﷺ, the religion has been completed and perfect. So we know for sure that this is true. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ said it. This hadith is in Sahih Muslim. And this is the barakah and the blessings of the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. There is no need for inventing other ways because it's unseen to us. And unseen to us, we cannot know it except with revelation. And this is ways to be firm on the sunnah. And that's what brings the tranquility in the heart of the Muslim, that he's on the truth, that there's no ambiguity, that he's saying whatever he's saying, he's doing the act of worship, whatever he's doing, based on what? Based on the way of the Prophet ﷺ, without having to do any other thing. So that makes the Muslim firm of what he's doing. So we benefit from this hadith, that al-isti'adha is ibadah. Al-isti'adha, seeking refuge, is an act of worship, and that's why it has to be done only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The permissible isti'adha is if a person do that by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or by the names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A'udhu billah, a'udhu biwajhillah, a'udhu bikalimatillah, right? Either Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or His attributes, and not the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because it's either Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The creation of Allah, it's not permissible to seek refuge in them. Also, it proves that Kalamullah Azza wa Jal, the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, are not a creation of Allah, right? Because this is an issue that some deviant sects, and they are present till today, they believe that the Quran is a creation of Allah. We have to be aware of that. Just believe that the Quran is the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke the Quran in the way that fits His Majesty subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing is the like of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We do not resemble this attribute like the attributes of the human beings, no. But we know the meaning of speech, and the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the Quran. And we stop at this point. We do not say how the speech is, how it happens. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. So this proves that the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are not a creation of Allah. It's an attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because seeking refuge in makhluk, in a creation of Allah, is shirk. We only seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are not makhluk. They are the attributes of the creator of the heavens and the earth. Also, another benefit is to show the virtue of this dua. And that means we need to have it written, we need to memorize it, we need to say it. And the means to protect ourselves from the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, whoever misses it, he should not blame himself if harm afflicts him. Right? If a person does not say the morning and the evening dhikr and something bad happens to him, he is the one that didn't protect himself. People take the means to protect themselves, wearing clothing so that they don't get cold, taking medicine, whatever there is. This is the most important medicine and the most important way of cure. Dhikr is a fortress of a Muslim. And the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in the hadith that Yahya ibn Zakaria and then Isa alayhi salam, when he said to Yahya ibn Zakaria said to the people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered him to tell them to make dhikr. Why? And he gave him the example that dhikr, or a person as if he is running and the enemy are behind him, running after him, till he finds a fortress or a secure place and he goes into there. This is the same thing with the dhikr. Dhikr protects the person from the shaitan, from the evil that is present, and there are so many enemies and so many different ways of harm that can harm the person. The dhikr is the way to protect oneself from these harms. This dhikr is according to the way of the Prophet ﷺ, not invented dhikr, but only the way of the Prophet ﷺ that would protect the person from all forms of evil. So this dhikr, أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. And this is something to be said in the night dhikr, before Maghrib or after Maghrib, if a person misses it, to be said 3 times. From the authentic sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. And it's something also to teach your children to say it, because this is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. If a person says that 3 times at night time, nothing would harm him by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as the Prophet ﷺ said. And as we mentioned before, when you recite, for example, Ayatul Kursi, it burns the jinn and so on, and it would make them run away from the person, and the person will be protected by the will of Allah. That's why the believers, they don't fear no one but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let me finish this one and then another benefit we learn from the hadith, that all the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in the control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because it's creation, it's in need, it's weak. That means a person should not fear the creation of Allah, he should have his fear only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. So why should he fear the jinn and fear the enemies and all of these types of things? He should make the fear pure and sincere, fearing the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in control of everyone. So if a person turns to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that is capable of defeating them, if a person would turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone with this regard. This is inshallah the end of chapter 13. Clear? So these things are clear for us to learn. Isti'adha and it's ibadah. It's not permissible to be done to other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We learn the dhikr to say it, and the dhikr to be said before the night befalls 3 times. And all of these great benefits, each one is a treasure in itself. Why? Because this is Quran, hadith of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam.
Sheikh, can you repeat when you're supposed to say that dua? You say after Maghrib?
You say this dua before you enter any place that you're worried about this place. A new place that you enter. You're traveling. They used, for example, when they travel in the past, they settle somewhere, desert, in the dark at night. They don't know animals that can hurt them or whatever. There is physical things can hurt them. So it is a sunnah to say that before you settle your things when you're traveling. The same thing if you go to a hotel room or you go to a new place or you want to spend the night somewhere, you say this dhikr. And you say that also every night, in general, every night at all times, before the night falls, 3 times.